In the dusty heart of Wyoming, 1886, the sun bled over the horizon like molten gold, spilling light over the Timber Creek Fairgrounds. It was the town's biggest day of the year: livestock auctions, rodeo games, and the evening's grand dance, where every unmarried woman waited with bright eyes and hidden hope. The men gathered near the saloon porch, laughing, boasting, and teasing as they leaned against the wooden rails. Among them was the talk of the town, Cole Anders, a tall, sun-browned cowboy known for his quiet strength, his stallion Storm, and his habit of keeping to himself. Cole wasn't one for laughter or drink, but tonight he'd been roped into the festivities by his ranch hands. The sheriff, smirking, called out over the chatter, "Come on, Anders! The dance is fixin' to start. You've worked your ranch long enough. Pick yourself a lady for once." The crowd hollered in agreement. "Any girl you want," one of them shouted, half joking, half challenging. Cole looked around, every eye turned toward him, curious and expectant. The girls on the porch stood straighter, fanning themselves, whispering and giggling. But his eyes didn't linger on them, not on the slim painted belles or the shy church girls with their lace gloves. His gaze stopped at the edge of the crowd, near the shadows of the corral. There she stood, Mary Beth Turner. Mary Beth had lived in Timber Creek her whole life, but was always the quiet one on the sidelines. Her father's passing left her to run the family's small dairy, and she had grown strong from hard work. Too strong, some whispered. Too big, others mocked when she passed, their cruel smiles hiding their insecurity. Her auburn hair was always tied up in a loose braid, her cheeks dusted pink from sun and effort. She never wore the latest ribbons or perfume, only a simple dress that fit her practical life. But her eyes, deep, kind, and endlessly gentle, held more soul than all the painted faces in town. As the music started, laughter filled the air. The sheriff grinned and waved at Cole. "Go on, cowboy. Pick one," he hollered, egged on by the cheering crowd. "Any girl in Timber Creek?" Cole's jaw flexed as he looked around once more, the noise fading into a distant hum. Then he lifted his hand and pointed, not at the bells, not at the giggling girls, but straight toward Mary Beth. Her breath caught. The laughter stopped. For a long second, no one moved. The sheriff blinked. "Her?" he asked, almost incredulous. A few men chuckled nervously. "The one who bakes pies for the church fairs." "The one you call her," Cole said firmly, cutting through the noise like a blade. His voice was steady, low, commanding. "The one you call too big." The silence that followed was heavy. Mary Beth's heart pounded in her chest. She felt every stare burn into her as her hands fidgeted in front of her apron. But Cole didn't flinch. He walked through the crowd, his boots thudding softly against the boards, each step steady and sure. When he reached her, he took off his hat, dipped his head slightly, and said, "Miss Turner, would you dance with me?" The simple words hit her harder than any insult ever had. No man had ever asked her to dance before, not once. Her throat tightened, but she nodded. I'd be honored," she whispered. He offered his hand, and when she took it, the crowd parted silently, unsure whether to laugh or stare. The fiddler, bless his old soul, started playing again. And there they were, Cole Anders, the quiet cowboy, and Mary Beth Turner, the woman they called Too Big, stepping onto the dance floor together. At first, she moved stiffly, self-conscious under all those eyes. But Cole's hand at her back was steady, grounding her. "Don't mind them," he said quietly, his gaze locked on hers. "They don't know what they're missing." "Why me?" she murmured, barely above a whisper. "You could have had anyone." His lips quirked into a soft smile. "Anyone? No, I picked the one who's real." His words were simple, but they carried something powerful: respect. Something she hadn't felt in years. As they danced, the laughter faded. People watched in silence as Mary Beth began to glow, not from makeup or perfume, but from something deeper. Her steps became lighter, her smile braver. The world around them blurred, until it was just them and the music. And in that moment, every cruel word ever thrown her way lost its meaning. When the song ended, Cole didn't let go. He kept her hand in his and turned to the onlookers. "You can laugh if you want," he said evenly, his eyes sweeping across the crowd. But a man's a fool to judge a woman by what he sees instead of what she carries inside. And this woman's got more heart than half this town combined. A hush fell over everyone. The sheriff, red-faced, cleared his throat and turned away. The other men looked down, ashamed. The women, even the ones who had once gossiped, found themselves quiet because they'd seen something rare: honesty and courage, side by side. When the crowd finally dispersed, Mary Beth stood on the porch, the last light of dusk painting her hair gold. "You didn't have to do that," she said softly. "Maybe not," Cole replied, placing his hat back on. "But I wanted to. You don't even know me." He smiled faintly. "Not yet. But I'd like to." And just like that, something changed, something small but mighty. In a town full of noise and pride, two souls found quiet and truth in each other. In the days that followed, folks noticed how Cole stopped by her dairy every morning, just for milk, they'd tease. But no one dared mock her again. Mary Beth carried herself taller, her laughter returning, and Cole, he finally smiled again too. Weeks later, when the next fair rolled around, it wasn't the sheriff who announced the dance. It was Cole, standing in front of everyone, tipping his hat toward Mary Beth as he said, "This year, I reckon the prettiest girl here's already taken." The crowd cheered, not mockingly, but warmly, because by then they'd seen what he saw all along, that beauty wasn't in a dress size, but in courage, kindness, and the strength to stand tall when the world tried to make you small. And for everyone who's ever been laughed at, left out, or told they weren't enough, remember Mary Beth Turner and Cole Anders. Because sometimes the right person doesn't just see your worth, they remind the whole world of it. If you believe real love sees deeper than appearances, subscribe for more stories that remind us of the power of heart, courage, and true worth.